Hello, everybody. At the onset, I would like to say thank you for supporting our YouTube channel. Though I've not been very consistent with my videos on this platform, but definitely will be in times to come. So this video is about the current status state-wise for Australia. Now, ever since the release of the migration plan, which has set the cap at 185,000 places for the migration year 25-26, the prospective migrants are in a limbo as to what exactly is happening as far as the state nominations or the state invitations are concerned. So let me break it down to you state by state. Let's talk about the state of South Australia first. So I was personally very pleasantly surprised to look at the South Australian occupation list, which was widened in accommodating a lot of occupations we hoped we could see earlier but did not, but occupations that did find their way on the occupation list for offshore applicants. Now South Australia will be giving out nominations for both subclass 190 and 491. The requirement is very, very simple. That is, the eligibility is very, very basic. All they are asking for is 65 points and 6 bands in each section. And also, the state of South Australia was last updated on 10th of October 2025. Second is the state of New South Wales. That was last updated on 19th of September 2025. Now again, NSW is offering both subclass 190 and 491 nominations to offshore applicants, and the pathway it is offering under is pathway 2. They're also looking for basically 6 bands in each section, overall 65 points. For pathway, if you're somebody seeking a nomination under subclass 190, you should have been residing offshore for at least 6 months at the time of making the application. And if you're somebody seeking a 491 nomination, you should be residing offshore for at least 3 months from the time you make the application to NSW. Queensland, the state has been last updated again on 19th of September 2025. The criteria remains the same, 6 bands in each section, overall 65 points. And for Queensland, it is mandatory for offshore applicants to submit an expression of interest in order for the state of Queensland to issue an invitation for a nomination to the applicants. For the state of Northern Territory, the occupation list is yet to be released. Now, there are 2 sets of criteria. One is for subclass 190 and the other is for subclass 491. To be very honest, those aspiring for a nomination for subclass 190 from Northern Territory should not be pinning too many hopes, as NT, Northern Territory, is largely interested issuing invitations to applicants who have some commitment, a job offer, or probably having studied in NT and so on, if they're looking for a 190 nomination. But offshore applicants who are looking at 491 nominations from the state of Northern Territory have very simple requirements to fulfill. That is 65 points overall, 6 bands in each, and at least 2 years of work experience out of the last 5 years in their nominated occupation. The streams that Northern Territory invites applicants under is the priority occupation stream, the NT family stream, and the NT job offer stream. Obviously, offshore applicants will be eligible through the priority occupation stream. Australian Capital Territory was last updated on 9th of October 2025. But here's the amazing thing about Australian Capital Territory. As you're aware that full quota to all the states is yet to be allocated by the DHA to continue, or let's say to start up with the nominations. The DHA had allocated interim a very small quota to all the states so that at least they could start up with the nomination process. And surprisingly, CAAN Wings has already got 2 nominations approved by the state of Canberra, that is ACT. Now for ACT, the minimum criteria is of course 65 points and 6 bands in each section for a 491 or 190 nomination. To be eligible for an ACT nomination, you need to also fill out the Canberra matrix, which is Canberra's internal point system, and based on the matrix, you will be ranked and invitation sent out to you accordingly. Once you are invited, you have to put up your application and ACT will review it and give you the nomination decision. The state of Victoria is a state that has got all the occupation listed. Therefore, a lot of people think that Victoria is a state wherein they have bright chances of getting a nomination from. Well, my belief has been on the contrary always. Victoria is a state that is kind of selective and would be giving out invitations largely to occupations that fall within the critical sectors identified by Australia, that is health, education and construction. While everybody is eligible to apply, very few will be actually considered for a Victorian nomination, be it surplus 190 or 491. So the process is very simple. You have to first lodge an expression of interest, followed by a registration of interest that you have to lodge with the state of Victoria. The eligibility criteria again is basic, 65 points overall and 6 bands in each section. For Tasmania, the 190 invitations sought by overseas applicants will be limited to those falling within the health and education sector. As far as surplus 491 is concerned, of course, offshore applicants are eligible with 65 points and 6 bands each. However, this is an invited pathway and the state of Tasmania reserves the right to send out invitations to overseas applicants to apply for a nomination. And finally, we wrap it up with the state of Western Australia, which has yet not announced its eligibility criteria, occupation list, and other related information for the migration year 24-25. Now, I'd like to end this video with a word of advice. A lot of you may be eligible for 189 visa, 190 nomination as well as 491 nomination. Realistically speaking, for overseas offshore applicants, 189 visa or invitation is going to remain very, very competitive, with not so much of focus on overseas applicants. As for 190, the focus again will not be on inviting offshore applicants. As far as 491 visa is concerned, yes, the focus will be on overseas or offshore applicants. So everything depends from state to occupation, but this is largely the principle they are likely to follow. That will be it for today. If you have any questions, any queries, please feel free to get in touch with us at inquiries@caanwings.com or give us a call on 78498 and we'll give you free consult on your queries. Remember, CAAN Wings is the only channel that is dedicated to providing advice and news on Australia's skilled migration, specifically catering to offshore or overseas applicants. That'll be it for today. See you next time. Until then, bye-bye.